I'll ask the first, respond out there. You had a little bit of an injury situation last year. It was the first time in your career you went through something. How are you now, and how frustrating was it last year?
I'm good now. I'm blessed to be back on the field. And what was the second question again?
Was it frustrating, and your first time you had to go through an injury?
It's always frustrating being an injury because, you work so hard all season. So it was kind of hard just being out. It was right before the Alabama game, so that's a game you look forward to all season. So I just had to put my head down and just pray about it, and I knew God was going to put me in the right path so I can get back healthy.
Okay. Any questions here? Okay, how about the front row here?
AP Stedham, WHEP, Foley, Alabama. Jonathan, what is it like to be a receiver in a Lane Kiffin offense? And what's been the most challenging thing for you being a receiver in the SEC?
It's a blessing to be a receiver with Coach Kiffin because, receivers, we are his babies. So he puts us in the right position every week to get open, and he loves getting receivers the ball. So in his offense, you just got to play fast and just be ready for a new change every other drive because he's always cooking something up. So we just got to be ready as a receiver. You just got to be detailed because, everybody has talent in the SEC. It's the hardest conference in the country. So you just got to make sure your techniques is right, be able to read the coverage, and make sure you're in the right position at the right time because nothing comes easy in the SEC.
Okay, to your left in the second row.
Jonathan, Joe Cook, WAPT and Jackson. For you, coming into this season, coming off that injury, you're one of the top returning receivers. I guess how motivated are you to, really lead this receiving group, with all the departures that you guys had at that position?
Well, it's definitely something I'm ready to fulfill. I've been behind a lot of great receivers in the years in the past. So I'm ready to take over that leadership spot in the receiving room and be the right example and show all the younger guys how it's supposed to be done.
If you're a defensive coach planning to play against the Kiffin offense, what do you think is the hardest thing to prepare for?
Probably being in shape because we play fast. So we play fast. We try to get them tired. So you just got to be in shape for us. And it's kind of hard to outsmart Kiffin. So you just got to be ready for any tricks he's going to throw up his sleeve.
Okay.
What's it like just being a kid from Brandon High School and, going to the SEC and playing for Ole Miss, but also, being here at SEC Media Days, your first time here?
It's a blessing to be here. It's something I always dreamed of as a kid, especially coming from Brandon, because, the state of Mississippi, we're a slept-on state. So it's always a blessing to be in the role I am. I'm just trying to be inspiration to the kids. And this year, we're trying to be the best team we can possible. So it's just a blessing to be here.
Okay, on the front row.
Jonathan, can you give a self-scouting report on your abilities, and what can you say about the quarterback dynamic and the competition that's being held at Ole Miss right now?
My abilities in my game, I feel like I can contribute in a lot of ways. I don't feel like I'm just like a deep ball threat. I feel like I can get open in any type of route. I can run the whole route tree. And I feel like I'm a 5-tool receiver. I got all the tools I can to be the best receiver I can be. And what was the second question again? It's a good battle. You got Jackson and Luke, both of them young quarterbacks. Both of them been working pretty hard the whole all season. So it's always a blessing to have two quarterbacks instead of one. You got two people you can depend on. So I've been getting my chemistry down with them this all season. And whoever the coaches pick at the end of the fall count, I'll be behind them. But, for me, my job doesn't change. My job is to get open and catch the ball. So it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. The goal remains the same.
What challenge does of an up-tempo offense is it for you as a receiver? What are the biggest challenges?
You say that again?
The biggest challenge of having an up-tempo offense for a receiver like you? Mental, physical?
You got to think fast. You can't be celebrating after a play because we try to go fast as possible. So we're trying to, as soon as the play is over with, we're trying to get the ball to the ref and get the next play. So you got to be in shape for this offense. Mm-hmm. You got to be physically ready for it, mentally ready for it, because you got to read coverages on the fly. So it's something you train for in the off season. So, but we're prepared for it. So when the game comes, it'll be easy to us, and the other team's not ready for it.
Okay. We have a question in the back row.
Dan Peck, ESPN 106.7 in Auburn. It seems like Ole Miss has added a lot of veteran players in the transfer portal who are competing to be on different spots on offense. What's it like integrating veteran players, from other systems and working with them and sort of helping bring along guys that maybe have played as much college football as you?
It's fun. You know, the transfer portal has brought in other receivers. You know, it's good to have experience. So, you know, we lost a lot of people last year. We're losing Braylon and Drum. So we got a lot of young guys. So it's good that we have other receivers that came in from different schools that have playing experience. So it won't be so much pressure on the younger guys. So bringing in transfer portal is good and bad. It's not really bad, but it's good to have people around you. But at the end of the day, the goal is the same. So you can't really just look at it as another guy coming in. You just got to look at it. We're trying to win. So to make sure everybody on the same page.
Okay, back on the second row.
Joe Cook, WAPT again. You mentioned the quarterback battle. What are the differences that you've seen between Jackson and Luke? Not from a negative standpoint, but just the differences in ability or just things that you're seeing during this quarterback competition.
They're pretty much similar. Their games are like they can both mobile. They both accurate throwing. Got a good feel for the defense. It's really kind of hard to pick them apart. It's probably something you just gotta pick apart during the course of fall camp.
You have good size for a receiver. Is there anybody in the pros or anybody specifically you model your game after or study?
I like to watch all Ole Miss receivers, so AJ, DK, Elijah, anybody that play the Ole Miss. I grew up an AJ Green fan, but I like to model my games after all the Ole Miss receivers. Just try to take little things from their game that can help mine.
Okay, begin on the back row.
Some of us remember A.J. Green here, so it makes us feel old when you say you grew up as a fan of him. But it's, do you keep in contact with some of the Ole Miss receivers that have moved on to the NFL? Do you ever talk with any of those guys?
Yeah, I talk to them whenever I get a chance. You know, it's a busier schedule once you get to the NFL, but whenever they had time, I always try to ask them a little tips that can help my game.
Okay.
Can you tell us one of the best tips?
It's a lot. Just get open, really, and you got to be a receiver to understand the science of it. You just got to read people. Just probably like reading the DB, reading their tendency, reading their feet, reading their hips. Just taking little things from everything you see in the game, reading the defense.
Do we have any other questions? You came a long way. That's all we're going to have. Oh, get another one back here.
One of the more memorable games of the season last year was your trip to Knoxville. Any memories you guys have? Any memories you have of the game at Tennessee last year?
Oh yeah, that was an exciting game. It was a crazy atmosphere, but that's definitely one for the books.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
appreciate y'all.